Andi Tilmann, and I just moved to the Pacific Northwest this past year from Colorado and from North Carolina. For about 16 years I've been a fundraising consultant, primarily for churches and spiritual communities, and particularly in the last 5 or 6 years of that career I started needing conflict skills and seeing the agonies when spiritual leaders aren't really aware of themselves and aware of the best things for their community, or the community is expecting something from a spiritual leader that they really can't deliver. So I started looking into leadership work as well. I heard about process work first because process work facilitators had been working with a group of people in my spiritual community called Firekeepers, who hold space for groups, and we're really committed to connecting from the heart and moving through emotion and helping people to be authentic in relationship with each other in their local communities. And these Firekeepers have been training with process workers to be better space holders and facilitators of those kinds of conversations around the fire. A few years into that, our community got into a conflict, and Gary Rice of the Process Work Institute came, and there was an international gathering of about 60 people to process this conflict between our community, and mostly between our community and our spiritual leaders. And it was just so beautiful, so effective, so efficacious. I was deeply, deeply impressed. Things that have been stuck for well over a decade in many people, and the leaders and in the group were able to move and clear. It provoked extremely deep emotional and authentic expression and meeting of one another, and it had real effect on each individual and on the whole group and on the leadership. And I've seen in myself and the leaders since then that it's had a very lasting effect. So deeply impressed, and I immediately went to speak with Gary about how I might go further with this work. But then I saw the intensive and it was perfect. I got really excited. It's just 5 weeks, but it is 5 weeks. You really do get a pretty deep understanding of every aspect of process work, which is pretty complex, and it's hard to understand without an experience. So I've actually taken it twice and the second time was even more amazing, actually. I think there's 3 or 4 main things that I took away. One is even if you just take the intensive, you leave with a deep enough understanding of process work to really use it out in the world in whatever form or circles that you're working in. So there is some academic theoretical learning that's quite comprehensive for 5 weeks, and it is something you can take with you into the world even if you don't move any further forward. There's a lot of personal journey and healing that's pretty profound. I've been through a lot of spiritual training, spiritual work, professional training and professional work in a lot of modalities, and this went deeper, faster, even in the intensive, than anything I've run into before. So both inside and outside in the groups and in the world has a very quick and powerful effect. I'd say the most extraordinary thing that I took away was this utterly unique experience of being in the presence of 30 other people from, in my case, 14 countries from all around the world, who held a similar care for humans and for the planet and for people and groups, and followed a similar call, which honestly felt a little crazy to make such a huge commitment on so little information, but to be in the presence of people in so many cultures with so many perspectives, and yet so similar in our humanity. It was so rich to have that experience, and I learned so much about myself and my own culture through that mirror, and I felt like I was able to teach about our culture to other people. I saw their understandings and stereotypes about Americans shifting. The relationships that you end up with these already extraordinary people from all over the world, because it's quite an intimate experience of relationship. You go deep quickly, and so the relationships also go deep quickly, and I have lasting relationships with people I really love that I just would never have met. So in my daily life, there's been tools and skills and especially realizations that I had throughout the intensive experience that I have been using professionally, for sure, in my work with communities, with leaders. I've already gone deeper with leaders and been requested just from conversations using what I've learned in process work. They've asked me to counsel them, and be an ear for them. So that was pretty extraordinary. That was a direct result of the intensive. I've realized things about myself that were unknown to me, but disturbing, or that I was suppressing and not using. So I feel much more integrated and powerful. So I've been able to take even painful things from my past, take them in, stop avoiding them. And I think I'm a more powerful person and a better leader because I've been able to see these things. And when they come up again and again, process work has already also given me tools and skills to work with them inside myself, take personal responsibility for them, work through them, and continue the realizations. It's the beginning of a huge unfolding that just doesn't stop. I've been able to do the same thing in my relationships and in my own community and in my own community leadership. So it's just been rich in every area of my life and powerful. Deeply, deeply impressed with the integrity, the care, the skill, and frankly the love of the staff and the faculty for the students. If you feel this little niggle inside that says do this thing and your life makes it possible, even if it's challenging and not easy, but possible, please do it. There's other people like you waiting for you and your gifts to make something happen, for the whole group, for yourself, for the world, and for your own communities and families and relationships and career. It's just kind of endless, actually, and extremely unique. You're not going to find it anywhere else. In my experience, I've really looked around and I haven't found anything that really hits so many levels and is so versatile and so diverse in its application, and yet so powerful and deep in whatever way you apply it.